What is graffiti? By definition, graffiti is writings or drawings that have been scribbled, scratched, or painted, typically illicitly, on a wall or other surface, and often within public view. There is an ongoing debate about whether graffiti should be considered art or vandalism. On one side, people see graffiti as destructive vandalism that should never be allowed. On the other side, others focus on the artistic value of graffiti and its influence on society, seeing it as beneficial to the public. To get a better understanding of both sides of the situation, we interviewed a Clemson police officer as well as a Clemson art student.
In my opinion, graffiti is pretty much any art put on a wall that is not owned by said artist. So spray painting, regular painting, stencils, just anything that's put onto a surface that is not your own.
Graffiti, in terms of the legal sense of the word, in South Carolina at least, is a form of vandalism. It's an unlawful painting or etching or some sort of semi-permanent alteration of the facade of something. Typically it's in a paint form. I mean, I don't have anything outside of what the law says graffiti is, from a personal standpoint.
I think it just depends on the purpose and intention of the graffiti. I think there's a big difference between street art and graffiti. So, for instance, artists like Banksy and Shepard Fairey, the guy who did Obey, it could be purposeful in like trying to create art, but it could also be just expletives spray painted on a wall. So, I guess it all just depends. Again, I think it depends. I think that if you go and you see artwork done by Banksy, technically that's graffiti, but in my opinion, that has such a significant like cultural and societal value. Whereas if you go to like a train station and you see like a curse word spray painted on the wall, I don't think that has artistic value at all. So it really just like ranges a lot.
I don't have a real opinion on it one way or the other. I like art, and I think art has lots of value. But the difference between art and what's vandalism is all, in relationship to what property or what fixture you're doing it on. So, just from a professional opinion, it's more based in, is it a matter of violation of law or not?
Most graffiti typically is criminally motivated. You just have teenagers running around trying to deface other people's property. Maybe it's just for fun. They think it's a cool thing to do. They want to leave their mark. They're trying to express themselves, and in a lot of cases, it's not well intentioned.
I think it's sort of dangerous to lump it into a category of most graffiti. You've got to really defining concept what you're asking there, and that's are you asking what's the motivation behind most tagging type of graffiti or most artistic and mural type of graffiti? I think the motivations are entirely different. And it can. Once again, that goes back to that varying types of graffiti. Remember that graffiti, in terms of an act of law, is simply vandalism, paint or etching or something.
I don't think it has a direct correlation with other crimes. I think it's people trying to find an outlet. They're trying to express themselves, and they want the whole world to see what they've done. I don't think it's associated with like stealing or drugs or anything like that. I just don't see how that would go together. That graffiti that is not well intentioned is going to have a negative effect. It's going to clutter up walls. It's going to make it look less like a place where people would want to live. But if you have something, whereas like Banksy, where it's actual art, it's like a stencil and it's got purpose and it's got intention, that's going to add value. It's like basically a mural being painted.
I think that it can be both, and it's all about perspective, right? Not everybody who goes and looks at spray paint on a wall is going to think, oh, that's a crime. That's, they damaged something. Some people are going to think, oh, it's really nice. It's a good job somebody did there. But the person who owns that building or is responsible for cleaning it up, or I have no idea what the consequences the university would look at it. The legal consequences in South Carolina are in relationship to how many offenses or how many previous occurrences of this you've been charged with or convicted of. The idea of the law being flexible is probably something that can never happen there, because the law is as flexible as the law can be. Remember, the law can only be interpreted in one of two fashions, and that's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. More often than not, in law enforcement, we view things from the spirit of the law, or the intent concept, right? I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I think that's kind of speculative. And correlation doesn't equal causation in this situation. It's not always for the sake of producing, useful art.
So is graffiti art or vandalism? There is no simple answer to this question. Graffiti, depending on the circumstance, can be seen as both artistic and destructive.
Thank you very much.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.